Joshua said. For a second, they stood there in awkward silence. Had this been a movie or romance novel, Maggie was sure he would have scooped her into his arms and they would have shared a beautiful first kiss. But this was real life, and instead, Maggie backed into the bookshelf, making Horton Hears a Who and Redfish Bluefish fall to the floor. With both of them scrambling to pick up the books, a headbutt was inevitable. They stood, Maggie rubbing her left eyebrow as Joshua tenderly touched the right side of his forehead. "Could you get away from me now?" Maggie huffed. "Yes, I will. You're dangerous to be around, Maggie Belle," Joshua said. "And I'm waiting to see the window display. Valentine's Day is coming, whether you like it or not. You're running out of time. Here." He reached around to retrieve his wallet. Maggie, still rubbing her forehead, waited as he counted out $100. "What's this for? Settling out of court?" She smirked. "Go buy whatever you need for the window. Maybe pick up a couple of things for the cafe, too. I know Babs has some ideas, so maybe ask her if there's anything she might be looking for." Joshua nodded before heading back into the storeroom. Maggie blushed. She looked around the bookstore and realized that a lot had changed since Alexander Whitfield, Joshua's grandfather, had run the place. She had worked for him for years, and there were times, like now, she really wished he were there to talk to. When he died, it was as if Maggie had lost her favorite warm sweater to a thief who ripped it from her shoulders before running away, laughing loudly. "What would you say to him now, Maggie Belle? That you have a crush on his grandson and don't know what to do about it?" she muttered as she stacked the books back in their places. The sad thing was she knew she wouldn't have had to tell Mr. Whitfield a thing about how she felt for Joshua. He'd have known without her uttering one single syllable. There would be that look in his eye that she'd seen a million times when he suggested she read a book at which she'd previously turned her nose up. Like the time he'd made her read The Time Machine. "Ugh, I don't like science fiction," she had grumbled. "You will enjoy this one. I know you will," Mr. Whitfield had insisted as he handed her the worn-out copy. "There is more to it than time travel." She snatched the book away from him and clicked her tongue. "You remember I wasn't all that crazy for War of the Worlds. It just didn't stick with me. The old movie on family classics was better. H.G. Wells is just not..." "Just not what? Romantic enough?" Mr. Whitfield teased. "Just not my cup of tea is what I was going to say," Maggie replied. "All the descriptions of futuristic machines and the creatures that drive them seems to go on and on and on." With a deliberate eye roll, she turned from her boss and tucked the book into her backpack to take home. At least give it a chance. Sometimes an author doesn't get into his own voice until after a first book. Sometimes they lose their voice after a first book. Everyone deserves a second chance, don't you think? Maggie had always hated when Mr. Whitfield made her reconsider. Since reading was Maggie's favorite hobby, she had finished the book that night. When she had walked into the shop the next morning, Mr. Whitfield had had that look in his eyes that she loved and hated at the same time. "Well, what did you think?" he asked as if he didn't know the answer. "It was better than I thought it would be," Maggie reluctantly replied. "Not just a science fiction story now, was it?" After a deep inhale and exhale, Maggie stomped up to her boss and handed him the book. "No, it was wonderful and very moving in parts, and I hope you are happy knowing you are making me annoyed." Mr. Whitfield chuckled, giving her that look that said he knew he was right. She'd seen that look a lot over the years. It made her smile, even as tears stung her eyes. Mr. Whitfield had died at the bookstore while she was with him. One minute they were talking about a book, and the next everything was silent, as if a radio had been suddenly snapped off or a washing machine had...